3 children have been taken to hospital and many more residents left homeless after a fire engulfed a block of flats in North London.
I was horrified because I knew that there were people in the flats, I knew there were residents in there, and I was just thinking, they need to get out.
Police are investigating the cause. Also on the programme. More jobs, more noise, bad for the planet? People living and working near Gatwick Airport react after a second runway is approved. And concerns over rising attacks on swans. A rescue centre wants dog walkers to know the rules to keep their animals as well as the birds safe. Plus, we'll be joined by 2 friends who turned a heartbreaking loss into a 200-mile mission to help other families. Work on a new cycleway between Aldgate and Blackfriars has been paused until guidance on floating bus stops is published. It's after concerns about the risks that these types of bus stops pose to visually impaired people. Fulham FC has been given permission to host major events in its stadium's new stand. Craven Cottage is now allowed events involving more than 500 people after the council's approval. The football club says it'll work to make sure noise and antisocial behaviour is managed appropriately. A builder has been cleared of burglary after a Banksy print valued at £270,000 was taken from a central London gallery in a daytime raid last year. James Love was accused of being the getaway driver for Larry Fraser, who pleaded guilty to burglary ahead of Mr Love's trial.
As we've been hearing, the government's given the green light for Gatwick Airport to get a second runway. Gatwick says its plans will bring jobs and boost the local economy, but those who oppose the expansion say they're worried about the impact on the surrounding area. Well, the Mayor of London believes the decision for Gatwick should shelve plans for a third runway at Heathrow Airport.
If it is the case, there's a second runway at Gatwick, it reinforces how ridiculous plans are for a third runway at Heathrow. What Heathrow needs to do is provide a better Heathrow rather than a bigger one.
Meanwhile, Heathrow Airport says work continues to resolve and recover from Friday's cyber attack, which impacted the check-in computers there. Heathrow said the problem was outside of its control as the system's managed by a third party. It says the vast majority of flights have continued to operate, but it's apologised to those who faced delays. Now, in other news, Oxford Street's reopened after being partly closed to traffic yesterday. It was closed to show how things could look if the busy shopping area was pedestrianised permanently. Well, the Mayor says banning vehicles would rejuvenate the area and help the environment, but opponents have expressed concerns over traffic congestion and access to the area.
We've known about car-free London for years, but we've never been along, and yeah, it's lovely. But the kids, they're going crazy.
There's a lot of razzmatazz, which is nice, live music. It's made my day.
I don't really drive, so I use public transport, and it is quite hectic when there's so many cars down here and you're shopping. So yeah, it's a positive, I think, if you're a pedestrian like me.
Fulham Football Club has been given permission to host major events in its stadium's new stand. Craven Cottage will now be able to host events involving more than 500 people after the council's approval. Well, Fulham says it will work to ensure noise and antisocial behaviour is managed properly. Police have issued a warning against people disturbing seals along the banks of the River Thames. Surrey Police said its rural crime team has received several reports of it happening recently, specifically when the seals are resting. Anyone who sees a seal being harmed is asked to contact police.